I'm very honored to speak here in our conference and contribute the topic of creative economy, creative university, and creative development, focusing the topic of open research and innovation strategies, rationalities of creating the future. So, and why am I doing this presentation? On the one hand, because, of course, the nexus between creative economy, creative university, and creative development is important to us in our conference. And on the other hand, because we've just, at the European Union level, had a new huge research agenda coming up, the Horizon 2020 program, and I was delighted to see that was stakeholder-based research platforms which was supported and proposed. And so the multiple stakeholder approaches came into academic research into the European Union, financed with €80 billion program. So I was delighted, and I thought, oh, wonderful, European Union is taking up a really great developmental agenda here. And then I went deeper into it and saw that it's not that easy to judge. So that brought my mind into researching a little bit deeper into rationalities of research platforms and strategies, given the fact that our financial situation, of course, is very, very much shaping what we do. So it's always a kind of governance instrument of policy to give financial resources, and program-based research is becoming more and more important in times of financial scarcity in universities. So it's becoming more and more important to have a look which kind of programs, which kind of policy-shaped programs coming up of third-party funded research. So that's what I'm looking at, given the fact that the university more and more is dependent, at least maybe in Europe, maybe not necessarily in other parts, but I get the impression that that's true as well for other parts of the world. So I want to address the topic in three steps. Just get into this new paradigm, which is, I think, many people will say that it's the new paradigm to bring all those different stakeholders from different sectors, from different fields together and create research as an open process, a platform strategy to bring people together and to create new knowledge in academia and as well for society in an open research and innovation design, and link research and innovation too. So this is what we have a look at in the first step. The second step will be have a closer look to rationalities we find in open research and innovation strategies in research programs such as European Union program Horizon 2020, the one I said just with the 80 billion source. And then I have a third step of look at the different models of responsibility taken here, what universities should be, or what research in universities should be today. And there's a strong notion of responsibility coming on, but the concepts of responsibility are quite different. So we're having a look at this. Good. So, and just saying very, very briefly some words on my theoretical perspective I'm taking here without talking too much about Foucault and discourse analysis. Just see that we are talking about rationalities. We have looked which ideas, which concepts really underlie institutional strategies to understand what we're heading at and what is the power and the knowledge dimension when we're talking about, for example, programs, research programs too, because they shape that much our life in academia. So this is the question I'm raising. How is economy, how is academia, and how is society constituted as a relational pattern? How it is connected, thinking about research and innovation nowadays in those programs? What is the policy idea behind? And we can differentiate, as we will see very soon, three different models within those paradigms here. Within this paradigm of open platforms, there's three different models, three different ideas underlying, and those programmatics I've been looking at a little bit closer. So to take this from an epistemological perspective means to really ask what is the power dimension, what is the knowledge dimension here, and what is the way how this knowledge is organized. So to really analyze this knowledge order within, for example, the European Union Horizon 2020 program, or see at the national level in Germany, our Ministry for Education and Research, what is the programs they support, they offer, and in fact they do go for the platform strategies. Whatever you do, there is platform strategies in research now. So that's interesting to see. And so have a look at this modes of collective knowledge creation and what they are shaped and how they are shaped. So, and thinking of this new paradigm of open research and innovation, we have a major shift, and as well in academic debates and research debates, we see that this obviously is a major shift, and it seems to be a new paradigm. Everybody says, well, academic research agenda of the past was that there's an individual researcher, he or she, well, imagine always he, of course, but the academic researcher as an expertise based only in academia. It was, of course, disciplinary and, of course, single topic oriented, and, of course, in general as well in social research, problem-oriented research, and especially in social sciences, to go for autonomy, for analysis and critique. And now we have a big shift into open research and innovation. And as I said, the responsibility idea here is to create knowledge in and with society, to have simultaneously processes going on between research and development. That's exactly the research on action research agenda as well, to bring multiple stakeholders in, to have a multi-perspectivity expertise here, to go for transdisciplinarity. All those topics are coming in here in those new ideas, and to do a solution-oriented, innovation-oriented, field-oriented, solution-oriented, design-oriented strategies of involvement. So Fantowitz and Ravitz speak about post-normal science, and there's many authors, Gibbons and I'll say that's the old science model and there's the new science model. So post-academic science, science in society now is the new concept and the new paradigm of academic activity and research academia, which is closely linked to innovation. Now, and of course, we have this in the field of social transformation and of social change, of organizational change, of consultancy. We find those social methodologies which have been used then there for open change processes and for developmental processes, which are now quite a lot used for open research and innovation processes. So you can use those social methodologies as well for research and innovation, and bring all the different perspectives. We have just been talking about the multi-perspectivity, which is also, to have education, to have politics, to have economy, and to have all those different perspectives there, to bring that into one idea, into one concept, into one vision maybe of going into the future. And I'm not going too much now into the topic of the different models, how you could structure a research innovation process with those social or research methodologies, because that's a whole own world we will be addressing in our forum there with the social research methodologies. That could be open, like open space, that could be pre-structured, like future search, that could be solution-oriented, like World Cafe, or like appreciative inquiry, or that could be problem-oriented, like real-time strategic change, or that could be discursive-oriented, so just dialogical, or it could as well be aesthetics-oriented, so experience-based, creative-based approaches to research and design and innovation designs. But we are not going too much into this field now, how you precisely would organize a research methodology in a platform strategy, but we're just going into the level of the underlying rationality, so go one step deeper and have a look, how is that embedded, where it is embedded, those methodologies, and how it is used, for which goals are they used. So this is what we're going and heading up at the rationalities of open research and innovation strategies, because the future is to be shaped, and it is to be shaped quite differently if we take a closer look. So, and our European Commission of Research, Innovation and Science, that's her, Marie Geoghegan Quinn, she says that the dialogue between science and the rest of society has never been more important. And as well, there comes in this idea that stakeholder has to be involved, and that it is important to have a responsible research there. But we will see that the notions of responsibility are quite different depending on the concept and depending on the context you're in. So let's have a closer look at the rationalities of open research and innovation strategies within those research. European Union understands itself as innovation union and really wants to go ahead with it. We're going to have a look at this very briefly and see that it will be more legitimation or acceptance-oriented concept there underlying. And the second one we have a very, very brief look at is what we have at national level, but still can be true as well for the European Union. That is the platform strategies, the multi-stakeholder strategies for research and development, which is still a segmented implementation of their technological development, so high-tech, and on the other hand, a high-touch, so kind of bottom-up stakeholder citizenship topics there, but are not linked. That's not completely not linked. We'll see that very briefly. And then the third step, which shows that's what's the need, or maybe what is as rationality given here in Bhutan with the developmental agenda, so cross-sector research and innovation in the notion of futurability and innovation for great challenges. So really for the ecological paradigm and for the systemic paradigm to make our developmental strategies on Earth more sustainable. So very briefly see very shortly what you can find on the home pages of the European Union and of the European Commission, and we'll see that it's quite clear that is to be create an innovation-friendly environment, that ideas have to be created in order to create products and services that will bring our economy growth and jobs. So we're still within the GDP and the growth paradigm here. And it's very closely linked as well to the context of finance, access to finance, to get funding in order to have this traditional technological patterns. In fact, innovation for growth is the idea underlying those programs, as well as I said, Horizon 2020 as a new huge program given there. And the goal is as well to make Europe a world-class performance science, notion of the global competition. The state has the role there to remove bottlenecks in order to create venture capital for the market. And in general, it's the goal to revolutionize the way how those actors interact, the public and private sector work, so the market, state, and civil society. But civil society is not that much developed in this notion. It's much more here the connection between state and market, and as well, the market has to set standards, so it's a very strong role as well given to the industrial sector there to lead those processes in order to get ideas just quickly implemented on the market. And if you look, well, this is the policy level now. If we look into the academic debate, there is authors like, for example, Henry Erzkowitz and Leidesdorf. They have been working on the triple helix model and just modeling how those actors should work together. And the triple helix model would be, on the academic side, the model which links exactly to this policy strategy and research policy idea. And you see that here is the government, the industry, and academia quite strongly represented, but there's no notion of civil society here. That's not the concept within this world of triple helix model, which is quite important and underlying the European Union research strategy. So for some reason, civil society is not that represented there. And as well, those platform strategies, as well, be it in a teaching or be it in a search and teach setting, like the design thinking approach and the design school in Stanford or in Potsdam, Germany, then you have all the different fields and disciplines together in order to create knowledge. That's the blue dot there is the industry, so that's quite oriented towards really multidisciplinarity for the market. That's the idea of this concept. And the idea of having science for an informed, sustainable, and inclusive knowledge society, which is the wording you will find if you look at the European Union papers, then you will see that the notion of inclusiveness means that people should just accept what is defined as goals for research. So it needs that policy wants the acceptance and the support for necessary changes in technologies, and that's exactly addressing high-risk strategies as genetical engineering maybe or stuff, and other critical issues where the civil society might not necessarily be happy with. So it's quite strongly to address the loss of trust in science, and one function of science then should be to create acceptance in a way of defined strategies as well of high technology research and implementation and innovation. So if we have a look, what is this idea and this notion of innovation culture, if you think of those stakeholder strategies here, then it's in a way a vertically directed innovation approach. You have, there is at the policy level, it's quite clear where we should go to. The path is defined. That is high tech, it is growth, it is just market, and it is industry based. And bottom up should be only technology acceptance in a way. And this is the research and innovation platforms should be led by industry, and that the industry interest is as well the driving force here. And it's the innovation chain will be going on with risk-based research and innovation, as well with conflictuous topics which not necessarily might be accepted by the public. So the role of science too is to raise the trust in science, to and inclusion is the idea to be informed and to accept what is given there. So it's still a sectoral, it's a joint interest based, it is multi-perspectivity for the market as we have seen, and it's decided technology paths which have to be just legitimated and there's public acceptance to be raised. So vertical decision-making and acclamation in a way of a functional concept of science contributing to growth. This is the first notion we have seen. And in this legitimation and acceptance-based pattern of what is responsibility of science in this sense is do what the market wants, not be autonomous anymore. The second idea is segmented implementation, and we can see this picture is just a picture from our homepage of the German Ministry of Education and Research, and then it's not that much a diversity approach there because it's quite strongly well, yeah, it's quite strongly connected to just industrial leaders, and then there's, in front is our minister, the German Minister of Education and Research, Minister Wanka, I think one of the very few women in this setting. And they have the Research Union Economy Science, which is a strong, as well, strategy to rise the high-tech approach of really create new knowledge for the market and go for the strategy high-tech for zero, or the future projects industry for zero to really get the electronical life enter in the industry and in fabrics and really create hybrid products like the Google glass thing you can put on and then it guides you through your life or so. On the other side, you find this as the high-touch aspect, kind of citizenship. There comes the social innovation dimension in at this point, and you will find the future workshop that involves science into city council success concepts and really do platform strategies and bring people together in order to raise acceptance for future tasks. So still this is kind of a segmented approach. There is, but at least there is this idea of social innovation and citizen participation for sustainable ideas of German cities and to bring this together. So then you will have cluster strategies for research and development, either technology or high-touch social innovation, where universities would go together with public facilities, with actors of civil society, of private firms, of housing industry, of social economy. So whatever would be relevant in any field, you would create a thematic cluster, would put them people together and create and shape innovation strategies, research and innovation strategies. So this is what links, if you look into the academic debate, then you will see the work of Novotny, Scott, and Gibbons on the shift of university and the role of university in a new action-oriented science governance, and to have the blurring the boundaries between state spheres and the stretched university is just in society. It's not autonomous anymore in this idea, and it's a space of newness and uncertainty. It's not institutionalized anymore. That's the idea, and it's just working on modes of thought and working on different notions and to create understanding between different sectors and actors. But still, we will have here the idea, if we take a look at this national strategy, then it's still a functional idea of risk prevention and participation in order to create risk prevention, or the efficient placement of funding, and to have those, according those technical or social fields, to have engagement of individual or collective actors. You will have the idea of positive effects of interconnection and of networking, but it's still divided areas of innovation. It's still the idea that it's either there or there, and science should be integrated in those strategies for the market or for society, but it's not interlinked. It's not the notion, and not the goals are that much questioned at this point, unfortunately. So we're coming to the third point here, which is responsible research and innovation, a strategy for really go for the great challenges and to have a new approach within the European Union. There's just one single actor having a vision of responsible innovation, as René von Schamberg. And there's a growing discourse about responsible innovation too, not only meaning responsible in the sense of being functional for the market, but responsibility in the sense of being a critical and shaping entity as well for social development and as well for questioning and suggesting at the level of goals and future development. So here comes much more now the level of ethical acceptability of sustainability of societal desirability to really question and reflect on the innovation process and as well on the results and products to be taken. So this idea takes as well shape in academia, and it creates new institutes, for example, the Virtual Institute for Responsible Innovation, which tries to really connect those spheres here. Or as well, there's a new journal on the way now, Journal of Responsible Innovation, which has appeared in this first number with Routledge. And you see that there's a whole discourse in academia coming up on responsible research strategies for open development. Now, we have said that we have to really question the rationality and we have to question the goals of research and innovation strategies in those two models we have seen. Then we see even at UN level there's notions and comments of Ban Ki-moon said that this old model is broken and we really need to reflect on global challenges. We have to reflect on crisis, and business as usual is not what works out anymore, and we really have to go for developmental strategies for a healthy planet and for new ways of creating the future. And as well, the notion which Otto Scharmer from MIT Boston brings in, which is a very, as well, quite powerful position to speak from this position of the MIT, which is kind of a sacral place on earth for management studies. And from there, of course, it's possible to then reflect where we're going. And shouldn't we change from ecosystem to ecosystem innovation? That's what he's suggesting, and closely connected to the developmental agenda of Bhutan, and having here just the fresh report of Bhutan's developmental agenda, where economy and society have to be closely connected with environment and to really go for a new developmental paradigm, to have those interconnected ideas and to really take care of as well rethinking the paradigms of think of what we value, the purpose of development, to question whether we just should go to raise more money and get at the same time get the scissors of richness or wealth, and on the other side more critical living conditions for many people in the world, to get this together and to think about humanity, think about interconnectedness and of ethos of cooperation. So this is the new paradigm coming in, is well, very strongly here represented by the Bhutanese strategy, which I think will be a model for the world and hopefully taken up too. And we'll find as well already examples where prototypes are created to go beyond GDP, to go beyond the just wealth creation, and the GDP approach will really reflect on institutional learning in cross-sector innovation to really raise new economic models, new organizational structures, or as well new economic indicators, saying that indicators in a world which is so much oriented towards measurement is so important. And so what kind of indicators do we bring in order to really be able to measure what really counts? And what really counts is the question to ask. So going for this, the vision of knowledge creation and responsible research and innovation platform strategies then has to integrate 4 types of knowledge integration, which is disciplines, which is systems, which is as well modes of thought, but it is as well interest. And the interest will be the most critical one, because then very much the notion not just of not understanding of languages, which is very important, but of course the most critical is people want to share? Do they really want or not? And that was the question for the future, to raise this and to go for self-transcendence and ecology of mind approaches here, which exactly was what is going on with the approach of Otto Scharmer's transcendence, ecology of mind, and really thinking about the transformation of the self and to question their own values, because only this will open up for change. So go for this approach of radical innovation here, and for a responsibility approach which really goes to the level of the individual and the awareness for attentional orders, for the leading into emerging futures, and to have then a position of science as a critical and designing actor integrated in the process to develop desirable futures with and in society, but not just being functionalized for the market. So, we have seen 3 different rationalities of open research and innovation platform strategies, and the one has been going just for the R&E platforms for technological paradigm, for the technology acceptance and legitimation. The second, we have seen that still, unfortunately, segmented innovation chains in different fields, high-tech or high-touch, and it's not, the goals as such are not that much questioned. And the third one then, which we are given here in the developmental paradigm, would be then to ask for desirable futures, for sustainability approaches, and the grand challenges of our time, to go really for the developmental paradigm of futurability and innovation. And I think this will be relevant to, we have seen this in the new developmental paradigm, as which is here in the Bhutanese annual resolution and in the report just provided, as the goal, purpose and context of development, to go for well-being in a global perspective. And talking about universities, then that would be the role of research, but as well, not only of research, but as well in the creative university of teaching, to go for active multi-stakeholder futurability and innovation, research-based learning approaches. And just to cite here the former Honorable Prime Minister Jigme Thinley, what we want to see is nothing less than transformative graduates who are genuine human beings, realizing their full and true potential, caring for others, including other species, ecologically literate, contemplative, as well as analytical in their understanding of the world, free of greed and without excessive desires, knowing, understanding, and appreciating completely that they are not separate from the natural world and from others, in sum, manifesting their humanity fully. Thank you very much. Tashidelek.